How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about mid-game farming priorities. Now, I have plenty of early game priorities out there, but with my small Go Tanks account, which I started at the beginning of 2024, so I got a little over a year and 7 months under the belt. I'm at 5.1 million GP now. Got a couple Galactic Legends. I just hit a Rhodium, and I'm starting to feel a lot more like a mid-game player. So, mid-game is kind of ill-defined. I don't know what exactly constitutes mid-game, but this is at least advice for someone that is solidly in the mid-game or maybe early mid-game, and maybe some players have already accomplished all of these farming priorities at the beginning of their account, early game. But nevertheless, these are some tips I want to share. But before we strike at the heart of the mid-game, it's time for a word from our sponsor. Think you know Marvel heroes? Well, how well do you really know their stories? If you're curious, dive into their epic journeys with our sponsor, Marvel Strike Force, the ultimate squad-based RPG where you assemble legendary Marvel teams to take on iconic villains. Use my link in the description or scan my QR code to download the game for free now and unlock free characters. Marvel Strike Force is a free mobile squad RPG that allows you to battle with your favorite teams of superheroes and supervillains in a fight to save the universe against threats like Doctor Doom and Apocalypse. Your goal is to power up your favorite characters to complete missions, unlock gear and other resources, and beat other players in PvP modes such as Alliance War and Arena. And while you're playing, take the opportunity to slow down the battle and check out Marvel Strike Force's stunning graphics and beautiful animations. In my opinion, Marvel Strike Force does an amazing job integrating great graphics with highly strategic gameplay. You'll recruit both heroes and villains from across the multiverse, including Iron Man, Wolverine, Venom, and many more. From there, power up your characters to take on game modes like Campaigns, Arena, and Blitz. If you're a new player, you can unlock up to 17 total characters within the first 30 days, including Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, and more. Also, be sure to check out the brand new versions of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, which are inspired by the new film. Unlock these two by participating in their Fantastic Four event, which will be live until August 17th. Use your newly unlocked Fantastic Four team from the promo code to obtain these new characters. Celebrate Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four. First steps, Marvel Strike Force is giving away the full Fantastic Four team for free. For a limited time, use promo code MSF4 to unlock Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, The Thing, and Human Torch. The team will help you climb out of the early game and set you up for success in PvP modes like the Arena and Alliance Wars. The MSF4 promo code will be available until September 30th, 2025. And with that, let's jump into it. So the first priority might not be news to many players that follow this channel, especially if you watch roster reviews. Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon are quite a valuable pair in this game. So first of all, the thing that stands out why it's just these two I'm talking about is their assault battle, which is not a very difficult assault battle once you hit the requirements. So if you get them up to Relic 5, the Relic 5 tier shouldn't be too hard. Relic 7, it wasn't that bad. And if you get through the first couple tiers, it'll help you actually farm them up. So that's the first part. I got them to Relic 7 on this account. A lot of players get them to Relic 9. Relic 9 is a little steep, a little too rich for my blood. I might do it eventually on this account, but that's just really a high price for early game account or even early mid game. But it pays off in dividends. The assault battle, as it stands now, will return every single month, and they are one of the last brand new assault battles that we're ever going to get because CG has introduced era battles to provide value for their newer characters, so that we've had plenty of those since then, but they're transitory, they come and go. They're a lot right at the beginning, so free players can't really have a lot of time to farm them up. But Master Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, they're not only great for their assault battle with great resources involved, they also are quite good together. And while they normally just go on a Queen Amidala team endgame, or if you have Queen Amidala, a lot of early players won't have her yet since she's a conquest character, and then you might be farming her in Proving Grounds, but they're just good with kind of any random Jedi or Galactic Republic team that work very well together, do a good bit of damage. And especially Padawan Obi-Wan, this is one of the biggest Eureka moments I've had this year in 2025. His Omicron is a must-have for any account that just hit 4 million or is in hard conquest, having a hard time. Since 4 million, since just getting into hard conquest, I've been able to do gold crate with this small account. Not my main account with everything available to it, but this tiny account thanks mostly in part to Padawan Obi-Wan's Omicron. It juices up his stats, his damage potential, his support potential. He takes tons of bonus turns. He has a 50% chance to take a bonus turn whenever an enemy ends their turn. So it's great interruption for Conquest, which is awesome because they're extremely fast all the time. He just juices up his team with so many buffs, so many debuffs. So you get done so many feats in Conquest just effortlessly without even thinking about it. Now, you don't want to use them under 50% stamina because you're not going to get quite as much of the boosts, but it is transformative. And the early mid game is all about getting yourself set up in PvE for those maximum rewards. And these assault battles and conquests are no exception. So Master Qui-Gon, Padawan Obi-Wan, probably the biggest thing to keep an eye on. Real quick before we transition on to the second farming target, these are the rewards from the Duel of the Fates assault battle with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. You're going to get one, as long as you get up to Relic 5, these are the ones I say as a target. You're going to get crystals every time on tiers 3 through 5, a lot of credits. These credits will make you never long for credits again, and that's a huge farming bottleneck. Really gives you liquidity, and they just reduced the cost of getting characters up to level 85, so you're going to have more than enough even if you just do this assault battle. You're going to get one of the following signal data on tiers 4 and 5, some good relic materials. Tier 6, the relic 9, you are going to get relic 9 mats, but it takes a little while to make that investment. And then what should be obvious to a lot of players, the next priority we have is the Peridia Patrol crew. So that's Captain Enoch, Death Trooper, and Night Trooper, or Death Trooper, Peridia, Night Trooper. And this is what I'm actively working on my small Gotenks account. I haven't done it yet. I started farming them before they got accelerated, but now that Enoch is accelerated, double dropping, they are fully accelerated. So this is probably the last assault battle we're ever going to get, the Peridia Patrol. Because of the era battles I mentioned. And the rewards aren't exactly the same as the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan. Tier 6 is pretty much the same, except you get the lower relic materials alongside some of the higher end relic materials. And on tier 4, you're getting mainly Chirotechs. The last tier is kind of the same. You have Omicrons as a potential in there, whereas you don't have that with Duel of the Fates, and you do have a little bit less signal data, or you don't have any signal data with Peridia Patrol, but they're both just really valuable. Same thing with Duel of the Fates. You have tons of credits and you get the crystals, so this is just pouring in value. Mod slicing materials, all great stuff that you can't really get enough of. Same thing with the Relic 9. If you're going to do a Relic 9 tier on either of these, do Master Qui-Gon Obi-Wan, because just 2 characters. This is 3, and they're not quite as good. They are a valuable group in 3v3. This is its own self-sufficient team. In 5v5, you could put these two with a Night Sister team, or grab a couple Imperial Remnants, run under Enoch, and they're very solid in PvP. PvE, I don't really use them too much other than the assault battle, but just the value you get from the rewards makes them well worth it. The third farm I'd recommend to every mid-gamer or early mid-gamer is get a second major fleet under your belt. So you only really need one awesome fleet to climb up in Fleet Arena, and for me that's been Endurance. I've been able to beat Executors, Leviathans, Profundity. Well, I use Negotiator for Profundities, but the Galactic Republic fleet has been my mainstay, and it gets me my fleet crystals. I don't need more than that. I haven't used Executor to climb in Fleet Arena, and I've been fine. But to progress in Grand Arena, you need at least 2 really solid fleets to make sure you're able to clear your opponent's fleets. And I recommend not really, if you're punching up in Grand Arena, which is most players that are really trying to optimize their farming, you're going to be facing a lot of players that have bigger rosters than you. They might be able to outmuscle you, but you need at least 2 good fleets to clear them. From Chromium and Erodium, you only need 2 fleets. When it gets to Kyber, you need 3. That's more late game. I think if you're in Kyber, you're officially a late gamer in one aspect or another. So for me, I have already completed this on the Gotenks account. My second major fleet is Executor. And Executor, for all intents and purposes, is better than Endurance. It's a better fleet. It's just much harder to acquire. A lot of players go for Executor as their first main fleet, and in that case, I'd recommend maybe picking up a Galactic Republic fleet or a really strong Empire fleet. But Galactic Republic is probably the most accessible because if you have two fleets that can beat pretty much anything thrown at you, then you're going to be able to full clear, at least clear their ships and get a leg up. I wouldn't recommend going heavy defense in Grand Arena if you're punching up. You just kind of like concede that because you can't really stop people if you don't have like really insane fleets like a fully developed Executor or a Leviathan. But at least getting a second core fleet is kind of the minimum for being able to climb up through Grand Arena, and I really just took off once I got my Executor to have a second major fleet for me. The fourth major farm I'd recommend for every mid-gamer, if you didn't already pick them up in the early game, kind of 3-4 million GP, I guess that is, Jabba the Hutt. He is an excellent Galactic Legend. He's probably he's on the top or the higher tier, like the top half of Galactic Legends in terms of PvP viability across the board. He's also excellent in TB. There's specific missions for him on every single planet all the way up through the chain, and really kind of most importantly that's been emphasized by most players is his resource value with his Smuggler's Run 2 event. You're going to get, you can sim this twice, so all the stuff here you get twice. You'd get enough to slice 2 mods up to 6 dots, and then a bunch of this to slice them to a green 6 dot mod. You get a bunch of, it says this is credits, but it's calibration materials, and then you get 6 mods, which could be really good ones. And take a look at this on Soy.gg's event log. Look how frequently this runs. This has run 3 times a month for a very long time. Maybe we missed one at some point, but even December there was 4 times. It's just a very frequent event. So that is 6 dot mods you're going to get each month. It's 18 5 dot health mods that are going to have potentially really good stats on them. And that is 180 calibration materials. This is insane value for mods, and most players in the early game or mid game really struggle on their mods, so that's really going to get you there. You also get a lot of nice things to put together. So he's a really beginner mid game friendly Galactic Legend because his team is farmed in order to get him. You got Chrysanthemum, you got Skiffguard Lando, Boosh, and then you can throw in Boba Fett in there as the 5th, and then you don't have to farm anything extra. That's extremely friendly for a newer player. And then you start building all kinds of other nice things. Luke Skywalker is excellent for assault battles. Han Solo is a great character, and you're going to have, it's not the easiest because you're going to need the Millennium Falcon, I think. Actually, scratch that. I'm thinking of something else. But Han Solo is part of that Millennium Falcon and that CLS team, C-3PO, so you might already have a lot of that farmed already. And it's just not a difficult farm in terms of the characters you're farming. But start on Outrider earlier because ships take just forever. And overall, it's a pretty easy unlock event with minimal frustrations, if anything at all. So Jabba is a must-have for a mid-gamer. The 5th farming focus I would recommend for every mid-gamer is Leia Organa, Galactic Legend Leia. She is the best Galactic Legend. Like Jabba, when you farm her, you pretty much already have her team completely ready. You got R2-D2 in there and Captain Drogon. Those are the mandatory ones, and those are the ones you use for 3v3. And then 3PO and Chewie is an awesome slot in, and Captain Rex is fantastic. And this was the first Galactic Legend I farmed on this account, so I had her in the early game, but there's plenty of players out there that don't farm her, or like they didn't get her yet because, I don't know, she's a newer-ish Galactic Legend. For the ones currently in game, she's the 2nd newest Galactic Legend, soon to be 3rd with Hondo coming in. But all her farming requirements are now accelerated. She does require a lot of materials, but she just kicks butt in every game mode. And she does have an extra resource draw it's kind of the same way Jabba does, but not as good. She gets a 3rd tier to Endor Escalation, where you're going to get potentially some Omicrons, some Relic Mats, but it doesn't happen nearly as often as Jabba's Smuggler's Run 2. It's more of a once-a-month event, but a nice little tidbit that you get by farming Leia, you're going to get a few Ewoks, and that's going to give you some more Zetas. That whenever this comes around too, so that's just a nice little add-on. And then by farming these Ewoks, it slots in naturally to farming C-3PO, so you could even switch the order of Leia and Jabba if you want. I mean, I got her first, but for the mod value, Jabba definitely is a higher priority for a lot of characters. It's just something to think about. As for in terms of farming, like the characters, there are some difficulties there with Rebel Officer Leia Organa is a harder farm, but you know most of the rest of them are pretty easy. You can get them in multiple shipments, and they're all accelerated. But she has just been so valuable to me. I climbed to Erodium almost single-handedly because she just held the line on defense. And overall for Galactic Legends, this is how I think of them. There's several waves of Galactic Legends, or phases. There's phase 1. This was Rey and Kylo came out at the exact same time, the first 2 Galactic Legends. They're not the hardest to get. It's basically they're an entire faction. A whole resistance for Rey, plus a little bit more. Whole First Order for Supreme Lord Kylo, plus a little bit more. And they each have a capital ship to farm. There are, of course, a bunch of other ships. That's not the easiest to farm because of all the ships. It's mainly the ships that are the big holdup, but they're both really solid. Next, JML and Sith Eternal are Phase 2 Galactic Legends. Sith Eternal is by far the easiest to farm, but he's by far the worst. So it's not really a good idea if you're really trying to optimize your roster. JML is a little bit more difficult just because he requires Jedi Knight Luke, and I think he should only come as a follow-up to these two because there's so much overlap. He is not a heavy hitter, compelling Galactic Legend. He's probably the second worst overall when I do my rankings. Phase 3 Galactic Legends, we have JMK and Lord Vader. Each of these have severe downsides to farming them as early or mid-game player. They are heavily reliant on either conquest units for JMK and then Lord Vader with Maul, or a ton of brand new marquees at the moment. Lord Vader has a new clone team, which is on top of all his farming requirements. So if you want to use him optimally, you have to farm him up. He's, you know, kind of on the same difficulty level as Leia, maybe a little bit harder to unlock. And then you either need a conquest unit in Maul or farm all those new clones. It's just, I know, kind of repeated myself there, but it's just very hard to do. JMK is blocked by Wat Tambor to actually unlock. It's really hard to get him if you're not in a GOTB guild and you got him to 7 stars. And then you need Commander Ahsoka Tano. Otherwise, he is a little lackluster, and he's going to get demolished, completely demolished by Leia and Jabba in every way. But these two, Phase 4 Galactic Legends, fantastic. Don't require any conquest units to meet their maximum potential. When you farm them there, you have their entire teams ready already. So they are just head and shoulders above the pack. I'm probably going to get JML next. He's not in this list. But other than that, I don't know who else the easy priorities are. It's just they are so clear. Ahsoka, extremely expensive. Also needs a conquest unit. Bad choice. Leia and Jabba are the easiest slam dunk decisions to farm Galactic Legends in the history of decisions. The 6th farm I'd recommend to every mid-gamer is on this page. You know, there's a lot of solo legendaries on Galactic Legends that are out there, so it might be hard to prioritize them, but I think the one that's a must-have for mid-gamers is Starkiller. I just finished him on this GoTanks account, but he is not that difficult to farm. He does require Kyber Tech characters, and they are to Relic 5, but they're pretty easy farms. Mara Jade's the only hard node farm. The other 3 are on Cantina, and they fit quite well into kind of the type of roster I'd recommend. Mara Jade is going to go with Starkiller once you unlock him. Talon goes well with a Darth Traya team, which is a very important early game farm. Kyle Katarn you could put with Leia, which I have just emphasized heavily. And then Dash, you can do something with him. He's got his ship, and he's just a nice, annoying little character on defense if you want, if nothing else. But Starkiller, why he's kind of so valuable to a mid-game player is when you're climbing up through Grand Arena tiers, through Bronzium, Chromium, and Erodium, you might be facing a lot of players that have massive rosters, and they might have a lot of Galactic Legends. But usually if they're that big and they're in those lower leagues, they're not very well put together. They have poor mods, and they're kind of ripe for the attack. Starkiller is a quintessential counter to Rey. I think a lot of people know that, but there's potential to beat Supreme Lord Kylo if it's not an optimized one. JML, Jabba, I don't know, maybe Sith Eternal Emperor. I haven't heard too much about that. I wouldn't use him on Lord Vader or JMK, but that's, 3 or 4 Galactic Legends you can counter with just that one solitary legendary character. And who else can you say that for? Afra, definitely not. You might be Jabba if you're lucky, but she's, and I don't know, maybe Jedi Master Luke, but she's not doing too much otherwise. Grand Inquisitor, nope. You really need Reva before you do that, and that's a whole nother level of farm. It requires the entire guild to get things done. Jedi Revan, I love him, but him and Luke together are the ones getting things done. Darth Revan, you need Malik too. You need a second fiddle that you're doing in extra farms. You know, Gas, he can beat like Rey in any game mode. But like Starkiller really just stands above the pack. I mean, I don't think Gungans are really beating multiple GLs either. And the rest of these are kind of just supports to other big teams. So he really just stands out. I think he is a really important farm, and he's a lot of fun. He is a lot of fun to play with. I just did a Squads for Dudes video on him, so check it out if you want. And now we are on to our final farm. And for our final farm, I am stretching the definition of farm a little bit, but I would say to round out all of your assault battles. You know, we already talked about Duel of the Fates. Pretty Patrol isn't shown on this page. This is just a nice, easy way to look at it. And I'd say Fanatical Devotion is not a huge priority. You're not going to do well unless you have Reva or really bash your head against the wall with Grand Inquisitor. Very hard to actually play. You know, I didn't get to. But I think these other 6, these core early level ones are worth finishing off. This is something I'm working on with my Gotenks account too. I will soon be able to probably finish up Places of Power because I unlocked Malik. I already did Military Might. It was easy with Leia's requirements. Rebel Roundup, easy with Jabba. Ground War, easy with Giant Knight Luke. Force Moon, I need to wrap up. I need to wrap up Place of Power. And Secrets and Shadows. And Secrets and Shadows is one of the more difficult ones. I've only done Challenge Tier 1. I did with Phoenix. I don't have a Night Sister team, so I really need to build up a good one to get Challenge Tier 2 and Challenge Tier 3. And I guess if you need one specific farm to work on, I'd say you add to the Night Trooper, Death Trooper video we already showed, and you add Great Mothers, Morgan, and Marin. Yes, they are all Chirotic characters, but they're an awesome team on their own. Just these 5 make a great team. They're going to get you through that assault battle just fine, and they're going to give you extra income or resources that you're not going to get from normal characters. As good as Starkiller is, there's no PvE event that lets you get just extra income from him. And then everything else is just about improving your performance in Grand Arena or Territory Battle or TW generally. There's nothing specific about them. And a lot of these characters are accelerated right now. Great Mothers should be accelerated pretty soon. But all of these are just, it's a great time to strike. They're still very fresh characters, and they're a Galactic Legend counter. You can beat Ahsoka with them. It's a kind of a different lineup that's best for that, but still awesome teams. One of the strongest purely marquee teams out there, Night Sisters. So I guess that would be technically the last farm, but in general, you know, just try to take a look at which assault battles you've mastered, got all the way through Challenge Tier 3, and which ones you haven't, and maybe put some work towards that. With Place of Power, I am really going to be relying on Malik for that. I just got my Malik to Relics, and he makes it worth it. Work just by hitting him and getting feared all the time. It's very sweet. I think I need him 7 stars though. But that's going to be it for this video. Those are the major farms I'd recommend for every mid-game player. They might take a while, but they might not take quite as long as you think if you start right now. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you later. Bye.